Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tank B Chopping, and I'm back with another haircut tutorial. Alright, so what we're gonna be doing on this cut is we're doing a number 2 on top, 1 on the sides, and a high taper fade. We are doing a kid's cut, so let's just get into it. Let's go. So as y'all can see here, I just got my comb in my hand. All I'm doing is combing out that hair, just combing it the way it lays. That way I get a better idea of what the hair does before I actually start cutting the hair. So I'm taking my ergos with the number 2 on there. Lever is all the way closed, and I'm going over the top. And y'all know how I do it, guys. I'm gonna go against the grain a couple times, across the grain. I'm gonna go every which way, making sure I get all this hair down to that desired length. That way, he doesn't have any patches, any flyaways, any straight hairs, or any of that. So that's the reason why we go over the top so many times in the beginning of the haircut. It's just to make sure that it's all even and there's no flyaways or no discrepancies in the length. And then as you can see, I got that comb in my hand. All I'm doing with that comb is I'm combing away the excess hair that gets cut off, just so I can actually see how the top looks. And now that is done, I'm taking my 1.5 guard. Same thing, guys. Well, I don't know why I said same thing, but 1.5 guard, lever open, and I'm coming up to about that ridge area, and I'm floating that clipper up and away. And once I do that, I'm gonna close my clipper. So basically what I'm doing is a little bit of fade down technique. So I started off with my clipper open, coming up to that ridge area, then I closed my lever, did the same thing, came up right below where I came up with that clipper open. And then what I'm gonna do next after this, I'm gonna take my 1 guard, and I'm gonna start setting in. Basically, you're just cutting the sides down, and I guess you can say setting in a guideline, because it did set in the guideline, even though I really wasn't trying to set in the guideline, but it set one in. So nonetheless, y'all gonna see that right here. So all we're doing here, guys, is taking them sides down to that number 1 guard. And once this is done, y'all gonna see, a little guideline. So I'm gonna have to take out this line, and I'm gonna go over that line with the clipper open. And I am gonna be using, I'm gonna be flicking away at that line, floating that clipper up and away. That way it fades more into the top, or it basically fades more into what I did with my 1.5 guard. And for the most part, it should fade into what I did with the 1.5 guard. And if it doesn't, it's all good. Once we start really attacking this haircut, we can clean that up a little bit. But for the most part, y'all gonna see that this is getting away, most of them dark spots and them lines that you see from that 1 guard. Alright, so now what we're gonna do is we actually starting off the actual taper work. So I'm setting in my first bald guideline, and like I said, guys, we're doing a high taper. So as y'all can see, we cutting off the whole C cup. I don't know why I stuttered like that, but we're cutting off the whole C cup, no C cup at all. We're taking that all the way off, balding it all the way out, and then towards the back of the taper, as you can see, it's right above the ear. And then I'm going over it with my Uno shaver. Just make sure we get all that down to skin. And now what I'm doing is I'm going in with my clipper all the way open, and I'm coming up a good amount, I would say about 3/4 of an inch or so, maybe 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, still using a flick out motion, setting in that next section. And then I'm gonna close my clipper halfway, come halfway into that section, and then I'm gonna close my clipper notch by notch after that, attacking that bottom line. And now that is done, I'm going in with my 1 guard. Lever is open, and I know we did a number 1 on the sides. However, in the front area right there where that taper is, like right there, that is a little longer. That's the reason why I went in with the 1.5 guard first. And now I have, well, not the 1.5 guard, but the one with the lever open, which made it a 1.5. And now I'm cleaning all that up with the 1 guard. And in theory, this should fade in, right? But you know how it works, man. It never really works 100% the way we want it to. So as y'all can see, I'm still fading away these dark areas, and I'm also fading away those lines that you can see from the 1 to the 2 on top. So I'm going back and forth between the taper and actually the fade that's on the sides, and that is how I do it, guys. Like for me, it's easier for me. So what I'm doing here is I have my, what is this? My 1/16 guard. I don't know, my mind went blank. But I have my 1/16 guard. I started off with my lever open, cleaning up them dark areas, and then I just adjusted my lever closed little by little, attacking these dark areas and coming down. And as you can see, for whatever reason, I left like some dark areas. So now I'm going back in with my number 1 guard, and I'm cleaning it up. And I know a lot of times people think like cutting hair, like short hair, is easier, and Sometimes it is, but sometimes you have, like the little errors that you may make, you can see a lot more when you're going from like a 0 to a 1 or a 0 to a 2 opposed to like a 0 to like a 6. I hope that makes sense. If you don't get it, my bad, but that's just something I've noticed, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, all we're doing now is we're just detailing this fade and this taper. And like I said, guys, I am going back and forth between the fade and the taper. But for the most part, I think it came out pretty good. And now all I'm doing is I'm lining him up behind the ear, making sure that line is nice and sharp. And then we're going to line up his front lineup. And then for the most part, this side of the taper is done.
Damn it, Tito. Another one?
Alright, so I know how to do it in the front, guys. I'm starting off in the middle of his forehead, setting an initial guideline, and then I'm just following that line all the way over. And since we did do a high taper, as you can see, his vertical bars really ain't too dominant. However, we're still gonna try to put a nice line right there. Now I'm going back in and I'm doing some more detail work. As y'all can see, I'm detailing that fade part of the haircut. Started off with my one lever open and then I just adjusted that lever to get that line out. Now we're moving on to the opposite side of the cut. And y'all know how we do it, guys. What we did to the left side, we gotta do to the right side. So I set in my bald guideline. Now I'm going in with my clipper lever open, setting in my neck section. I don't know why I said it like that. Setting in my neck section and then I'm gonna fade that section down. Going in with my number 1 guard lever open. And then I'm gonna close that guard little by little and try to fade out that line. And then after that, I'm basically just gonna be doing some detail work. Oh, my bad. This is my 1/16 lever open, and then I adjusted my lever, and now I'm just doing some detail work. So what I'm doing right here is my 1.5 guard, and I'm just cleaning up the top of this taper area, basically where this taper starts meeting that longer hair on top, and I'm cleaning that part up, and then I'm also cleaning up the fade that's on the side. Now we're just moving on to the front lineup, and we're just trying to make both of these sides match up. We wanna act like it's a mirror, you know what I'm saying? We want the left side to look equivalent to the right side. And as you can see, little man is, he's moving around a little bit, and it gets like that sometimes, guys. Sometimes you just gotta make sure you hold your client's head, take your time, try to calm the client down, let them know, like, man, you're in good hands, like, let's just get this haircut done so you can get out the chair. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this cut so far in the comments, guys. I think I'm smashing this haircut. It's a real easy haircut, but it's also easy to mess up, especially if you're doing it on a little kid. If y'all made it this far into this video though, please do me a favor and please smash that like button. Alright, so as y'all can see here, we're just gonna move on to the back of the taper, guys. We're gonna be doing the same exact steps we did on the left side and the right side. We're just fading this in, and then we're gonna attack the fade area of this haircut. So with that being said, I'm gonna shut up for a second. But y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to my boy Tito Beats Productions. Y'all give him a subscribe one time. Also, if y'all like any of these tools you see me using, y'all can go to the Gamma website and use my code TANK10, get you a small little discount. And make sure to follow me on Instagram, tank_B_chopping. Let's go. Alright, so basically what's going on here, guys, is this haircut is almost completely done. All I'm doing now is I'm going back on each side and I'm detailing everything. I'm detailing the fade, detailing the taper, just making sure that this haircut is nice, blended, make sure it looks good, make sure there's no discrepancies in the cut. So I'm just going to be switching a lot of guards and using a lot of lever play to make this haircut basically come together, as one whole haircut. And what you see me doing here, guys, I'm actually using my Uno shaver to get that line crisp behind the ear. And the reason why I'm doing that is a lot of kids tend to move a lot when you try to put that straight edge razor on them. So for kids, I use that, that Uno shaver behind the ear. And it works really good. Now what I'm doing is, y'all can see I'm just using that straight edge, that straight blade, hitting up that line up in the front. And as you can see, this vertical bar is a little more dominant now that I actually hit it with the razor. Now I'm just hitting that front line up, making sure I stretch that skin nice and tight. That way it lessens the chance of nicking my client. Alright guys, so check it out. This is how my boy walked into the shop looking. And this is how we left the shop. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this haircut in the comments, guys. If y'all like this video or if y'all like this haircut, please make sure to smash that like button. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure and subscribe one time for your boy. I still got a lot more material to drop on y'all guys, so I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Y'all stay tuned. I appreciate y'all, YouTube. Until next time, let's go.